All right, let's see. Just waiting for this to say we're actually live. Hello. All right, we appear to be live on Facebook. Yes, and I believe we are now live on Instagram. So, hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Stability. That's what I would like to talk about today. Stability can feel incredibly elusive to us as non traditional earners. And we have to address that because it is almost impossible to create success without stability. So, whether you want to generate a new stream of income from scratch or whether you want to make the business that you already have more profitable or find sideline employment that works with your life, my goal is to make sure that as a non-traditional earner, you really understand the building blocks of how to create cash so that you feel stable even when the world doesn't. So my name is Miata Idoga. I am the CEO and founder of Abundance Bound. I am also the creator of the Financial Empowerment Program, which lives within Abundance Bound. And this is the only step-by-step financial education and guidance that was created specifically for creatives and non-traditional earners of all kinds. Our purpose is to help you learn specifically, precisely, what is it that you need to do to stop feeling like money is the one thing keeping you from living the life that you want. So I've said this for the last few weeks that we've been going live. There are 3 keys to creating a relationship with money that allows you to thrive. Okay, you have to be willing to strengthen your money mindset. You also need to have the really practical skills and systems in place around your money management. And then you have to build your muscles around making more. Okay. And so 3 weeks ago, we talked about money mindset. Last week, we really focused on money management. And today, I want to talk about making more. So let me take a quick look and see who we have with us today. And why are you not showing up for me today? Hold on. There we go. Okay, perfect. I see you, Abena. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. And Kelly, Sean, Jackie, Chris, Maria, Sarah, welcome, welcome. What I would love to get your questions on today and really talk about is making more, right? Because at the end of the day, what I always say is that financially powerful people have multiple streams of income. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Financially powerful people have multiple streams of income. This isn't just a belief system of mine, it's an actual fact. All right, all we have to do is look at the numbers of people who are consistently, actively, not just, yes, we want to build safety first and then stability and go on from stability to actually building abundance and wealth, whatever that means for you. But people who are able to do that almost never do they have a single stream of income. And one of the stories that many of us have bought into as non-traditional earners is we have bought into the lie that we really can and should only do the one thing, whatever the one thing is that you do in the world. So in my early years as an actor, I heard a lot that if I could do anything else in the world, then I really wasn't cut out for being an actor, and I really should go do that other thing. And this is something that is sold over and over again, largely, I think, to creative people, but again, people who have chosen to build entrepreneurial lives outside of a kind of traditional where you go to the same job every day, week after week. We have been told that whatever that thing is you're doing, it should be the only thing you're doing. And quite honestly, that is what has kept us struggling, okay? Because it's just not the truth for people who are creating more financial abundance in their lives. So I would love to hear from you, and please go ahead and type messages into the chat. I want to make sure if someone could even just say hello in the chat, so I make sure that I see any questions that you might have. Yes. Okay, Jackie, I think you did something because you popped up for me on another screen. But I would really like to talk about what are the areas, what are the questions that you have around how you can strengthen your income, how you can increase your income. Because let's just start with a fundamental reality, all right? Once we figure out what you need, what you actually need to be living your life, and this is something we talked a lot about last week when we were talking about management, this is essential. Not what you think you need, not what you hope you need. We have to figure out exactly what is your life actually costing you. What is your life costing you right now? And if you were here with us last week, you heard me say, I need you to approach answering that question as a detective, not a judge. And so what I mean by that is that what we instantly tend to do when we start looking at the realities of what our lives cost us is we start getting incredibly judgmental, okay? We start feeling things like shame, perhaps, about how we have been spending. And that is our judge hat. And what I want you instead to put on is your detective hat, okay? Where really this is just about getting clear around what has been happening, because it's only from that place that we can effectively move forward. So once you know what your life is costing you, and the best way to get clear on that is to look back at least 6 months, not just your rent and your groceries and the gas for the car, but also your investments in your business, your investments in your creative career, if you have one, what you're spending on travel and gifts, and all the various subscriptions that we have, and restaurants and entertainment and medical bills, all of it, right? Once you know what that number is, we really only have 3 choices. We either have to earn more money in order to make sure that we are covering what we are spending, or we have to spend less, right? So that we can actually, again, cover what we're spending, or we have to do both. Okay, now I'm pausing for a second because it has shown me that Jackie has made 2 comments and that Sonia has made 2 comments, and I am not able to see those comments. So give me a second, because this absolutely does not help you guys if I can't actually, maybe this is it. No, that's not it. Okay. Forgive me, guys. This has always just shown up for me. And that is super frustrating. Let's see. I don't want to share my screen. Hold on. Let me try this. No. Oh, yikes. I have a Q&A button. Huh. So sorry, everyone. There we go. Okay, perfect. Got it, got it. Thank you, thank you. All right, now I see them. So Zanya, you said you definitely see how limited my skills are due to my only being focused on my performance career. Although I've been a working actor for 2 decades, I would appreciate having other skills. Okay, great. And then you guys said hi to me when I asked you before to do that. Sean, you said operating a business aside from acting is where I'm currently learning and how to implement the systems in the business to thrive. Learning to increase cash flow is what I'd like to get better at. Perfect. Okay, so you're absolutely in the right place, and let's talk about this. Okay, so specifically with Sean and Zanya, what you've given us here, okay, and I know I just said this, but I want to reinforce it. All right. You want to increase your cash flow. Zanya, you said you would appreciate having other skills. Okay. So the first thing I just want to reinforce is it starts with figuring out exactly what it is that you need. Okay. Please, please, this is a step, and it may seem obvious, but we have a real tendency to skip over this. We just say, our answer is, I just need more money. Okay. And so, Sean, from what you've written, I am, surmising that you are starting or have started a side business. And learning to increase cash flow is what you'd like to get better at. And I cannot tell you how important it first is to know exactly how much do you want to increase cash flow. What's the first goal? Okay, so understanding if, and I'm just going to use Sean, you as an example, because you've given us such a powerful example here. You're an actor and you also have this additional business. So what we first have to know is, what does Sean need, and on a monthly and annual basis, both to cover Sean's life, Sean's personal life, we'll call it, but also to cover Sean's acting business. Because that's one of the things that is true of many of us as non-traditional earners. Everybody out in the world has to, figure out how to pay for themselves. They have to figure out how to pay for their personal lives. Most of us as non-traditional earners, we actually have to pay for ourselves, and we also have to pay for our businesses. We also have to pay to be able to invest in those businesses, to be able to market those businesses, to be able to invest in our ongoing education. And all of those things cost money. Whereas a traditional person, they can just go to their job, and their job generally doesn't cost them money. So they figure out what their personal lives cost, and hopefully the job pays them enough money to fund the personal life. So in the case of Sean, and in probably most everybody here, if you identify as a non-traditional earner, you have to figure out what your monthly number is that covers both things. Because the only way to build an acting business or a writing business or a directing business or any sort of entrepreneurial endeavor, the only way to build that, especially when it's a non-traditional business that you can't go out to a bank and borrow the money or raise the funds to build that business, you, the personal person, is going to have that obligation as well. Okay. So once you know what that number is, a tool that I want us all to become familiar with is you need to revenue model your business, okay? So if someone wants to throw out, okay, so Sean, you said marketing is where you would like to add more resources for the business to add clients. Okay, perfect. Sean, are you comfortable telling me or using an example that's close what kind of business it is that you're building? Okay. And the reason I asked for an example that's close, if you're not comfortable sort of putting out there, is because all of us will be able to learn from whatever example I use. And so I'd love to use an example that feels relevant. So it can be Sean or anyone, an example that is relevant to what it is you're actually doing. So you said numbers are above, but I do not see them. So, okay, I'm not actually seeing anything yet. If you could copy and paste it into wherever you wrote numbers are above, then I can go with that. But I want everybody to become really familiar with what we call a revenue model. And essentially what a revenue model is it is precisely how is your business going to generate the income that you need, right? Exactly. And what I mean by exactly is what exactly are you going to do? So one of the things that often happens is that many of us, where our first primary business is a creative business. So let's take acting, for instance, okay? If your primary business is a creative business, revenue modeling it is very difficult. It's not impossible, but it is very difficult because there are a lot of unknowns, right? Understanding, knowing whether you are going to get hired for a particular job, there's a lot that goes into that beyond your efforts alone, okay? So that is a business that has lots of upsides, but it also has the downside, which is that your results are not going to be directly connected to your efforts. Okay. We can never in any field guarantee that our results are going to be directly connected to our efforts, but there are certainly businesses that have a higher degree of correlation between your efforts and your results than others. Okay. So what you want to do when it comes to a sideline business that you are creating is you want to actually look at what are these products and or services that you are going to provide and at what cost, and then create an actual model of how many of that service or that package or that product would you need to sell in order to bring in the revenue that you need. That very simply is a revenue model. Now, the issue with this is that many of us start businesses where we are only making money one way, okay? And that is one of the ways that we limit ourselves. So let's say, for example, that I am a personal trainer, okay? I essentially offer personal training. I'm just going to keep our numbers really clean for $100 for a private session. All right. And I'm going to pull out my calculator because I want everybody to do this. All right. Now, let's say that my goal is to make an additional $20,000 a year from my personal training business. Okay. If my revenue model consists solely of my single sessions, then I want everybody to do some calculations of to generate $20,000. We're not going to worry about taxes or any of that stuff right now. I divide that by 100. and I would have to sell 200 individual sessions over the course of the year just to make an extra $20,000. And again, we haven't dealt with taxes at all there. We haven't dealt with any of the expenses that I have to continue growing this business and education and training and all of those things. So you can see, though, how I have given myself a really difficult job there. So then when you say that marketing is where you would like to add more resources, what ends up happening is that the amount of revenue that you have to put into marketing in order to generate one client hour at that $100 per session is extreme, let alone 200, let alone continuing to do that over and over and over and over again. And so that is where many of us as entrepreneurs, as non-traditional earners who are building businesses, become exhausted because it is simply not sustainable. So one of the keys to strengthening cash flow is diversifying the ways that your business generates income. So that, using the personal training example, working one-on-one with, let's say I'm the personal trainer, working one-on-one with me as personal trainer needs to be just one of the ways that I offer my services. What I want to look at is what are the ways that I can offer my services in groups? What are the ways that I can offer a perhaps elite level package? What would I include in that elite level package? One of the things that so I have just gotten kicked off of Instagram. I understand everyone who's watching on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube that we are still live there. So let me try and go live again on Instagram. Give me 1 second. Technology is not working for me today. Okay, I believe we are now live again on Instagram. So hopefully our folks who were with us will start popping back on. Let me give a second here because it looks to me like we have our most of our guests are joining via Instagram, not via Facebook. Okay, so I want to give folks a second to come back. Hey, Melanie. Hey, Petite. I'm especially hoping to get Sean back because we were in the middle of answering his question. Jackie, Nadej, perfect. Okay. So one of the things that I will often say to people who are building businesses, and this is really a cash flow concept that I would like you to keep in mind, is how is what you are offering, how are you intending to change the world, right? That's a legitimate question, no matter what it is that you are offering, okay? If you are offering personal training services, if you are offering acting coaching services, if you are offering dog walking services, hair cutting services, makeup, anything that you are offering, tutoring, I would suggest that you want to be able to answer the question, how are you seeking to change the world? Okay? Because one of the other things that we can be guilty of as non-traditional earners is we start doing things just because we need to make extra money, okay? And I am not saying there is ever anything wrong with going and getting a job, all right? A job that pays you and allows you to earn what you need to do to keep going after whatever the things are in the world that you are going after. That, in fact, may be the best path for many. But if you are choosing to have a business, if you are choosing to offer services independently, I want for you to be able to say how you are changing the world. Now, Jackie, you said that just cause has been crippling. I really would love to know more about what you're saying there. I think I have an idea, but I would really love to know what you're saying there, and I'll keep going in the meantime. Because what I mean when I say, how are you seeking to change the world? I mean that I want each of us as non-traditional earners to be able to stand 100% behind what it is that we offer, okay? And what I hear a lot when I'm talking to non-traditional earners is, well, I do some tutoring on the side, or I do some personal training. I help people get in shape, like with a kind of apology around what it is that you're doing. And then we wonder why our marketing doesn't seem to be effective. And a part of it is that we don't actually have the level of belief behind what it is we are doing in the world, which would then it should then not surprise us that others don't have that belief that makes them want to pay for it. One of the things that it has been really, really hard for me to learn is that my job is not to convince you that what I am offering has value. And I want for everybody here to really also start owning that for yourself. Your job is not to convince anybody that what you are doing has value. What your job is to absolutely effectively communicate what it is you do for people, how it is that working with you will help them, will solve their problem, and then the people get to decide whether they value solving that problem sufficiently to pay you for it, okay? And this is so much more than just rah, Miata saying, you have got to know how you are changing the world. We have to know how we're changing the world and believe in how we're changing the world so we can communicate that effectively. And the people who want to change their lives with you understand the difference that working with you in whatever capacity will make. Dewan has shared here, I want to partner with actors to get to their dreams faster so they can help change the minds and the hearts of people throughout their artistry. I believe art is power and can be a universal language. Okay, so you said that promotes thought and change. So first of all, Hello, Dewan. I am so excited, you guys. My episode with Dewan on his incredible Think Bigger podcast has just gone live today. I have not yet had the opportunity to listen to the whole thing, but I listened to the beginning and I absolutely hope you will all go listen to it. I also listened to Dewan's first episode of this season. And man, was he on fire. And you need to go listen to that as well. But here's a great example, okay? This is how Dewan is committing to changing the world. He's committed to changing the world, I'm paraphrasing now, by helping actors get to their dreams faster, okay? So I know that Dewan already has all of this in place, but I'm going to use him as an example for what we would want to do. Is that is essentially the vision, right? It is the larger mission statement, really important for how he is changing the world. So when it comes to creating your revenue model, everyone, right? And this was where Sean started us off. When it comes to creating your revenue model, the next job would be how. How do you specifically do that? So in Dewan's case, is he doing that with small mastermind groups and individual coaching and perhaps speaking events and right? In other words, what are the elements that make up his revenue model? So working with him privately for a year with lots of access, that is going to have a very specific price point that comes with a very specific level of how he is meeting his mission of helping that actor who signs up for that get to their dreams faster. Then there may be a level, I'm making this up, that is a small elite mastermind group where, again, personal levels of attention of Dewan helping those actors in that small mastermind group get to their dreams faster. And how does that work? Right? And then there may be larger speaking events, and that might be kind of the lowest price point where, again, he is changing the world, but he's doing it with a different level of access, okay? And the reason, forgive me, the reason why I want to give you these examples is that for many of us, creating cash flow, making more, which is what we're talking about today, we kind of put out a shingle and we have one way for people to work with us. And we've attached a price to that one way that people can work with us. And it's usually essentially trading hours for dollars. And that narrow focus often is what is keeping the amount that we're able to make, it is keeping it small, okay? So it starts with you absolutely, everyone, you gotta know what it is you're here to do. And you have to believe in that on a really, really high level. You have to be committed to creating results, whatever those results are, again, within the parameters of your business. And then you absolutely need to figure out what the different ways are that people can access those services. If I am a dog walker, okay, I might say that I am changing the world by giving, I'm totally making this up as I go, but by taking care of people's fur babies, keeping them healthy and happy while their owners are unable to do so. All right? Make that better, right? But that might be my mission. That might be how I am making the world better. Okay. So, to build on everything we've talked about so far, what I would like you to avoid is that you only do that one way. Every time I come walk your dog, it's $35 for me to take them for a 30-minute walk. Okay. What I want you to look at is I want you to look at how can you meet that mission multiple ways and offer people different ways of working with you. Okay. So is it that you have an elite care package for the full-time worker who wants to know that 5 days a week, all the weeks of the year, their fur baby is getting the absolute best walk and love and whatever it is that you do for them and the medications they need and all of those things? Is there an elite level package? And then, yes, the individual kind of emergency walk, the 3 walks a week. Find different ways that your clients can work with you. Now, I also want to speak to something else that Sean raised, which is marketing, right? You want to be able to put resources into marketing. And one of the things that I would suggest that everybody do is I'd love for you to take a piece of paper and draw a circle on it. And I'm going to ask you to divide the circle up into 8 slices of pie. Okay, 8 slices of pie. So just, divide it and then divide it again. So you've got 8 slices. And then what I would like you to do is to fill out each slice with a way that you are marketing what you do in the world. All right. Because this is another place where we tend to not be doing as much as we really need to be doing to have our businesses and the word about our services out in the world. So many of us, when we actually do our, what I call our marketing pie, we will discover that we maybe can fill out 2 slices. Okay. So maybe you put up flyers in your neighborhood. That may be one way. Maybe you appear on other people's podcasts, right? I'm trying to hit all different kinds of businesses. That would be another way. Maybe you operate based on referrals. You're a really referral-based business, and you might even have some rewards for your existing clients spreading the word. And so you have a referral service that's a slice of your pie. What many of us will discover is that, again, we only have 1 or 2 slices, okay? And a sustainable source of revenue is never going to be built on 1 or 2 slices. Now, I am not suggesting that you're going to go from 1 slice to 8 slices tomorrow, right? But I really want you to be focusing on, so this is a great thing to look at in 2023, how many slices can you add to your pie? Okay. And this also gets us really specific. So kind of the last thing I want to say before, I would really like to know if there are any questions or specific things that people here today would like to talk about when it comes to making more. But one of the most important principles that I want you to keep in your head when it comes to your money, and specifically today when we're talking about making more, is clarity, right? Really getting clear on exactly what's happening right now so that we can chart a course to exactly where it is that you want to go. So if you think about what we've talked about so far today, I talked about getting really clear about exactly how much, what is the first revenue goal for your business? What's the first goal? Okay, clarity around that. Second, clarity around how you are going to offer your services. What are the different packages, the different ways that revenue can come in? And once you've created that, then you can get really specific. My goal for this year is to sell 6 elite packages, to sell, 24 mid-level packages, and then to have this many individual client hours or speaking engagements or dog walking packages or whatever the thing is that you are offering, okay? So we want to have real specificity around that as well. I want you to have real specificity around what is or are your marketing strategies. And again, just get clear without shame. What are your marketing strategies currently? One of the dangers, like when Sean shared, I want to be able to put resources into marketing. One of the dangers is that we want to be able to throw money at marketing and have that be effective. And I'm not saying that being able to add resources to your marketing isn't going to be helpful, right? However, it is not going to solve a marketing deficiency. And so before you look at putting any money into marketing, I want you to get really, really clear on what are the slices of your marketing pie and how many of those slices do not actually have to cost you any money at all. How many of those slices are just about you being willing to put in the time and energy to getting that slice up and running? Because again, for many of us, we are trying to build with limited resources. And so the greatest resource that we have is our time, is our skills, our energy. And so what we want to look at is how powerful can we be about how we are allocating that time and energy. And once you identify, okay, flyers is one of the pieces of my pie, and articles for the local magazine is another piece of my pie. Social media is another piece of my pie. And then specifically, what on social media? Are you sharing client testimonials combined also with your any sort of thought leadership that you might have, right? What are each of the pieces of your pie going to be? One of the things I would love to ask you to put in the chat, for those of you who are marketing businesses right now, what are some of the slices of your pie? Can we help each other by saying, oh, I never thought about having that slice? Okay, so that's one of the things that I would love to ask you to put in the chat. So what else, everyone? For those of you who are here right now, looking at the concept of making more, what are you struggling with? What can we talk about? Okay. I believe, and I'm just talking while I hope that some of you're here, and I would like to actually make this useful for you. What are some of the things that you're thinking about or struggling with? I believe that making more, right, is something that it's a muscle that we are always building. All right. So one of the things that we look at with the members of our financial empowerment program is we look at the different ways that we can bring additional revenue into our lives. So we can bring additional revenue into our lives by growing something that is already in place. We can bring additional revenue by adding in another element. We can bring in additional revenue by beginning to build our wealth cycle. So by actually investing and starting to purchase assets. All of these are different ways that we can increase our income. For those of us who are building creative businesses, we'll often say, I don't want to distract from my focus on my acting career or my writing career. Zanya, you were someone who said at the beginning that for the years of your career, you have largely focused on what has been a very successful performing career. And that is absolutely fabulous. And what we know is if the pandemic didn't teach us this, the upcoming danger, particularly in the entertainment industry, of strikes, all of these are reasons why, no matter what, we want to have multiple streams of income. So Emma, you have said that you started a self-tape business last summer, and you're not sure how much more to invest in it as it's slowed down quite a bit lately. I haven't spent any money on marketing it yet. Perfect. Okay. So first of all, I think it's incredibly powerful when you say you started the self-tape business last summer. So we're now approaching a year and you haven't spent any money on marketing. I actually think that's brilliant, right? Because I think that it's a mistake that many of us make is we throw money at marketing right out of the gates before we're even really clear that we have a viable business and exactly what it is we're offering and exactly who and how we should be, if we are spending money marketing, exactly where those dollars will be best spent. What I would encourage you to do, Emma, is if you haven't been investing money in marketing, what I would want you to get really clear on is what is the business costing you right now? Okay. This is true for everybody, right? What's the business costing you? So you haven't been spending money on marketing. I'm assuming it is absolutely costing you time. So I want you to be really clear on what it is taking from you in terms of time. And one of the things that we want to really stress here, guys, this is true when it comes to our businesses, it's true when it comes to money in general. The time we spend worrying about the business, that is not what we're actually talking about here. So we want to get really clear what is the actual time. So Emma, in your case, that you're putting in either delivering the services and or out there marketing the services, even though that has all been kind of your own hustle. You haven't been putting dollars into that. So get really, really clear on what that time is. Then, Emma, I'm not sure whether you joined for the whole conversation that we had about revenue modeling. If you didn't, as soon as this posts or when you have time, I would go back and I would look at revenue modeling, because I would really want you to look at how can you, first of all, differentiate yourself when it comes to self-taping, okay? So really looking at how do you want to change the world when it comes to self-taping. So again, it's something lots of us need, no question, right? But it's also something that a lot of people have gotten good at doing themselves. It's also something that there are a lot of people out offering different kinds of self-taping services. And this isn't me trying to talk you out of it or to put it down at all. I am saying I want you to know, how are you seeking to change the world doing self-taping? Because everyone, your ability to answer that question helps you answer how much more are you willing and wanting to invest in it in terms of your time and what that business is costing you right now. Because it's very possible, Emma, that you said to yourself, this is something I can do. This is something that I can do well. I can help people do this. And so I am going to offer this service. And that you actually, when it comes down to it, like you're not seeking to, you don't, if I say, how do you want to change the world offering self-tapes, that you're really like, that's not something that I have an answer to. And that may absolutely mean that it's not where you should continue to invest your time and dollars, right? Because your talents, and I mean this for everybody here, your talents and the ways that you can change the world are enormous. That's not me just rah-rah. I genuinely believe that this is the way we want to be approaching things. And I may decide, and this is fine, that I am absolutely going to pursue my writing career, okay? And I am going to change the world with this sideline job that I have. I am going to, we have members of our financial empowerment program who have taken on becoming trained coders so that they can offer coding services and can earn a really nice hourly coding and can focus the rest of their time and attention on building their acting careers. And what I would say to them and to everyone is I want them to show up when they are coding with how they intend to change their little piece of that world coding. The same way that I would expect you to show up as an actor, as a writer, as a dancer, actually changing the world. It can sound like lofty language, but it is what helps us show up as our very best selves. And that is a huge part of making more. The way that some of us, okay, and this is how I'm going to start wrapping it up, although please, if you have questions, pop them in the chat and I will answer them. The way that some of us are approaching our lives right now, and this is why we do not feel, sorry, it's not why, but it is one of the reasons why we do not feel powerful when it comes to money. And it is drastically affecting us in the realm of making more, is that we believe we can show up one way to one aspect of our lives and another way in all the other aspects of our lives, right? So we believe that, I'm going to use myself as an example, I might believe that, oh, when I am acting, you get the best Miata. That is where you get Miata, like all in. I want to change the world as an actor. You get that Miata. But when I am doing my financial education work, well, there you get Miata with some energy if I'm feeling up to it. But really, it's this thing that I do, to make some money, right? That doesn't work. We absolutely show up in our lives in all of the things that we do essentially at the same level. Okay. So when we pretend that we can show up here to this thing that we love and show up here to this other thing, we end up dragging down everything without question. Okay. It affects our results. So when you are looking at making more, what I would like to throw out to you, what I would love for you to think about this week, is I would like you to think about how do you approach making more with the same level of energy and power that you approach the other things in your life, rather than saying, but that's going to take away from this thing that I love. What I would like for you to consider is that it is precisely what will feed and fuel and bolster and lift the thing that you love. Here's what I know. And again, I'm going to use myself as an example. What I know is that when I allowed myself to get into what was absolute financial desperation, when I reached the place of being $80,000 in credit card debt, the going to bed every night crying, waking up crying, opening my credit card bills with fear or not opening them at all of that was taking away from my acting career. All of it was. Your finances, your ability to have a strong financial mindset, to have clear practices around money management, to build your muscles around making more, that will affect everything that you are up to in the world. It will affect your creative career if you have one. It will affect your personal relationships. It will affect your relationships with your children if you have kids, with your partners if you have partners. It will affect your relationship with your health, your relationship with yourself. All of these things are affected. Your relationship with who you want to be in the world, the places that you want to have an impact. So when I talk about, and I know, Emma, that you were just putting forth your example, and it may have set me off on a little bit of a rant, but I hope it's helpful to you. What I believe is that the way, the fundamental piece, okay, that all of us need to look at when it comes to making more is what amount of ourselves and what energetically are we bringing to those things? And are we willing to give it our best, truly our best, understanding that then has a ripple effect with everything that we are doing. Okay. So for those of you with concrete businesses, Emma, with your self-taping and other people who shared things that you are up to, or who just have things that you're up to that you may not have shared publicly today, I ask you to go away and get clear on how you're going to change the world with that thing. Okay. Start there. answer that question, and then plug in the specifics that we talked about today around how you're going to do it and putting your revenue model in place. And I guarantee to you that that will start to direct your actions in a way that will significantly improve your results. Okay? I am going to be showing up live Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific from now moving forward. This month, we specifically dedicated the first week to mindset, the second week to management, the third week to making more. But moving forward, I'm going to be here talking about all of those things. For this to be time that is as powerful for you as possible, I hope that you will show up with your questions and challenges as a non-traditional earner who wants to strengthen your money mindset, your money management, and your ability to make more. Okay, I will see you Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific, and have a wonderful, wonderful week, everyone. Bye.